How are you?
Spring has sprung,
Yes, it
finally.
has. Welcome to Cooler Talk with Rhonda and Cynthia. Today we are talking about spring because we're 2 days into the new season. It's very exciting.
Yes, we are. And we are here, as always, just to share our experience, strength, and hope. We're not professionals, but we do like to share some tips based on our personal experiences and life observations.
For sure. So you all sprang forward, springed forward. Gosh, I don't know the past tense of spring. You all sprung forward 2 weekends ago.
Yes. And my biological clock is still off.
It's still readjusting. Well, we're readjusting to you all. Actually, I've been doing quite a bit of let's say, time zone hopscotch because the US is now only 5 hours behind Central Europe, not the usual 6 hours. So there's been a lot of discombobulation of times and just keeping track of like what time zone are you in? It's been um, yeah, it's been
It'd be
an
so much
athletic couple weeks.
It'd be so much simpler without this all these time changes, and I think our bodies and biorhythms would be much happier if we could just live normally,
I
naturally.
I agree. I agree. If we could actually, I mean, what would be great, and one day there will be a company that's like this, that's just going to say, work when you're in the mood for working, versus show up at 9, leave at 5, instead it's going to be like, pick the time of day that works best for you. And that day might be nearer than we think, actually, with the whole remote work. And, so folks in India who like to work in the middle of the night, they, might be able to help people out in the States, that kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
Anyway, so spring has sprung. What are you up to?
Well, I have hired a house cleaner who's coming in today, which is what spurred my decluttering.
Uh-huh.
And I still have a few things to do after we're done, but yeah, I've splurged and found a really good
Nice.
service,
Good.
and I can't wait. I'm sure he's going to be here 4 hours, so I don't know if there's enough time for everything,
Mm-hmm.
but the bulk of stuff will get done. Place will
Mm-hmm.
get cleaned out. Then we'll do some focused cleaning next month.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So you're doing the monthly service deal.
Yes. Yes. I found a service. Uh, all of the um, all of the cleaners are background checked and so on and
Mm-hmm.
so forth. And they're all professional, experienced cleaners.
Yep.
And so I'm very excited. And
That's
it's a
huge.
subscription service. So by subscribing each month, I get discounts on
Nice.
the cleaning service, and it's a pretty good percentage. So we're going to go for it. I am an odd for a month. Looked at
Mm-hmm.
my budget and decided to do it.
Yay
You
for the
bet.
budget. Yay
You
for the
bet.
budget.
Yeah.
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 I have some coworkers, actually some young coworkers or younger coworkers, and there's this fellow, he's in his early 30s, and his girlfriend moved in with him about a year ago,
Hmm.
and they went for about 6 months until his girlfriend was like, "That's it. I've had it. Like, we're either hiring a, house cleaner who can come by a couple times a month, or I'm leaving. So he signed up real quick.
For sure.
Um, yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, it's just me, and that's bad enough.
yeah.
But I
But,
just procrastinate and let things go on and on. And so I'll take this day to definitely clean out the clutter.
yeah,
So progress, progress. Spring is here. Time to clean things up. And then we'll get
absolutely.
down to my office here, but I want to do some more decluttering before I have pay someone to come in here and clean it up for me. So
Yeah. Well, you said something just before we started this show, which was that, like, with everything that you're removing from the space, you're feeling lighter.
yes, I can't believe it. It's like
Yeah, yeah. It's
you
it's
feel
really
it too.
important. Even the
Mm.
stuff that's like tucked away in your drawers or in your closets, that's like energy.
Well, I
Um,
have all of these beautiful shoes,
mhm,
and I'm like, well, I haven't worn them in years,
mhm,
and they're like new. So I'm slowly letting go and donating the shoes, and they'll decide what they're willing to. And
right.
some things I sell. It just depends on what. I mean, sometimes it takes so long to sell things. At one time, I forgot where I put something. Like I'm sorry, I can't remember where I put. So I'm trying
That's
to
the best.
organize everything so it's all in one or two spots. The clothes, there's a yeah. It's,
That is rich. I love
oh
that.
my god. Um, and I have these beautiful suits from when I did work in an office, and
Mhm,
I used to go out a lot, and the world has become so much more casual. A lot more casual than what the clothes I have in my closet account
mhm,
for. So, as Joyce Meyer says, let somebody else have access to it. They can enjoy it and use it instead of having it sit in your closet. So that I still hear that
yep,
little voice saying that. Yeah. So my some of my daffodils are up about this high
uh-huh,
already. They're about to bloom. The tulips are coming up. It's such a beautiful feeling. My neighbor told me yesterday he's getting ready to put up a professional fencing around his yard instead of the farm fencing, I call it.
mhm,
And so we had a really nice chat yesterday. It was outside. We were outside. Three of us neighbors just happened to be outside and had a really nice conversation. Uh,
nice.
it caused me I got to some jobs I had signed up for. I got there a little late, but later than I wanted. But I did. Well, I'm not on a schedule with these particular ones, which is what I like. And it was
Mhm,
worth getting home later than I wanted,
mhm,
having this wonderful conversation with my one
yeah,
neighbor. Um, and I realized, and so we're all like, gosh, if you just need a break, come on over for a cup of coffee. All three of us, two of us, well, there's four of us right in this little group, and three of us are self employed. But we never see each other. It's just like, hello, okay. Don't I, it's like it's understood. We don't have time to talk. No big deal. It's really nice.
very cool. It's
So I
almost
was real
like
happy about that. I'm like, oh, and so I shared how I felt about, he was just kind of inquiring. So I just asked a couple questions here and there. And he goes, "Well, I'm thinking about this." I'm like, I love that idea because it's a very natural. The community where I live is much emphasis is placed on nature
Mm.
and trees and openness. So he was happy to tell me he has bark collars on his two dogs.
He has
I
bark
laughed. I noticed
collars?
it had been a little quieter around down there. Why haven't those guys been barking? Well, now I know. Because
Yeah,
we constantly outside, we constantly have people walking their dogs out and about. And when these two go out, it's like they want everyone to see them.
that's delightful. That's
Yeah.
really delightful.
Yeah, so I shared with him how this humanitarian project I'm involved with, that it looks like it's coming to fruition, um, and he's interested. He goes, "Tell me more once it's in, once it's running."
Mhm.
And then and I thought to myself, 2 days before, I was thinking, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to deal with the people and this and that. And but I picked up on the fact that I was enjoying talking about it. I thought,
Mhm.
well, I just got my answer that I was that, oh no, this isn't going to drop because you enjoy talking about it.
Right.
And he's
Right.
he's open. I told him what I was looking for, and that I have a building picked out, and what the purpose of all of this is. And he was like, "Yeah, I'd like to hear more about it." And so we had a really long conversation. Found out we had a think alike on a lot of things,
Mhm.
and he's very open minded. He's educated in thought and what's
Mhm.
going on in the world. Of course, he's in his own business too, and he also has 20 years. He had worked in the prison system, so he this guy understands so much in the world, if you will, for a young
Yeah.
guy. I don't
Yeah.
think he's more than 38. And he's just the nicest person. I've always felt that about him, even when he bought the place next door. So um, I'm excited about that.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah, yeah. So spring has sprung. It's like I'm, it's kind of like these limiting beliefs that we have. How if we're paying attention, we find out just by running by chance into another person that, oh, those were limiting beliefs and thoughts I was having a couple days ago.
Mhm.
Because I'm going to be behind the scenes person. I'm not going to be the one to once the center is built. I'm not going to be the one that's directly involved with the people. I just work on my own personal projects. And as you know, my focus is to help senior citizens out.
Mhm.
With housing, get everybody repaired, their homes repaired and updated. And there's a long list, but yeah, it's kind of cool talking about it.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like sort of moving the stalled energies of, let's say,
Mm.
the physical clutter that you have in your space and in your home and your garden, etc. That just by moving it, it
Mhm.
almost allowed for the energetic, um, yeah, the energetics to kind of like get moving and
Yeah,
excited and springing forward with you.
it was weird because every little piece that I put into the bag, the room felt brighter.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, Yeah, it was pretty profound.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
I'm really motivated.
That is great. I am going to tear a page from your book coming up. So I just finished a project. It actually extended into Tuesday this week.
Ah,
So yesterday I started to do a little bit of, documenting the process and doing some of that stuff, which is a form of, let's say, decluttering or just adding a bit of structure to, the chaos of the past few weeks. But I would like to remove a lot of the paperwork that has multiplied in my space and, just shred the hell out of those. And let's not forget that it is tax season.
I know. I have to
So
put that on my list. Get those done.
I have to do some financial decluttering. It should be better. Actually, it's been pretty good since I started budgeting because everything is sort of recorded and ready to go. But it's always a thing, right? Like to just pull all of that paperwork together and then hand it over to somebody to take care of the taxes. Yeah. So that is my short-term vision. It's the financial decluttering, and that's due at the end of this month. So I need to get to it. Yeah, but as far as like the spring and the budding of trees, and we've had kind of an extended, well, we had a warm up about a month ago, but then it
Mhm.
got cold again. And so the blossoms and the buds have sort of retreated. And I think they're a little bit nervous about blossoming. So no daffodils yet.
We have well, that's I have a little courtyard in my the front area, and it's warmer. It's a protected area, so it's a lot
Hmm.
warmer than the other parts of the yard. Um, so I think they will thrive. We're supposed to have some snow. I've been hearing. Of course, it's March. We usually have a big snow by the end of March.
Okay.
One year it was horrible. But we'll see. We'll see. I'll be able to get out tomorrow. I know. Just why I still keep watching the weather report because if I'm gonna drive 2 hours away from home, I don't want to be driving through piles of snow on the road. Although I have very good tires, um, I just go back to last year when I didn't get the tires changed yet and I couldn't stop and slid
Yeah.
right into this guy's truck.
Was he cute?
Fortunately, I was aiming for his trailer hitch
Hmm.
and it hit my bumper. I got a little hole there now, but nobody had any serious damage. And I'm just like, at this point, I don't care. I'll get it fixed someday. Um, and That's not on my priority list right now. So, when you have an older car, it's not as urgent as I didn't want to file an insurance claim.
Right.
Just I was just like, no, I don't need to do that. I still need to
Yeah.
repair the damage that was done when I got rear-ended. Um, so that's on the list. That's on my list. I did a new goals board, so um, I get to look up at that when I'm sitting at my desk, just as little mental notes about the things on my list, and we're just keeping our mind open to what becomes um, ready to do.
Yes.
I'm trying
Yes.
not to take it. I'm trying not to be too formal about it.
Hmm.
Like the time I decided I was going to buy a house, I didn't know when, but I knew I was going to do it, and all of a sudden everything started coming into place. It was a couple
Yep.
years later, so I don't want any expectations. I might think, well, I'd like to do that this year if I can, but I'm focused on getting this accomplished first. So
Yep.
you know,
And there's this magic words. Wouldn't it be nice if,
yes, I
wouldn't it be
forgot about
nice
that.
if, fixing that dent in my car would just happen, you know? But you're right. Like when you kind of go easy on things, it seems to be easier for it to make itself present for you or,
Yeah, it is
be ready for
very,
you.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you seem lighter today, which is great.
I seem
Spring
what?
has sprung. Lighter.
Well, that's because I got rid of some clutter.
That's right.
And
That's right.
I've had some new awarenesses that I was able to get, if you will, released yesterday. Um, I'm sure those issues will pop back in, but you know, I never understood, karmic things. And there's an individual. It's like we never meet anybody by accident.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've seen that enough and experienced it enough over the years to know that there's a lot of truth in that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, sometimes and my neighbor and I were talking about that yesterday, and sometimes we meet people for a season and sometimes for a reason.
Yep.
And most of the people in my life were there for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And when that reason was fulfilled, unfortunately, most of them have passed away. I'm at that age, but there's this one individual that I can't explain it. Every time I have any kind of contact or interaction with this individual, I almost feel angry.
Interesting.
It's very interesting. And and I find, sometimes that's usually an indicator that we have to look and see what issues are going on within ourselves
Mm-hmm.
when we have that strong of a reaction to someone. Um, so with another person I was talking with who has the same issues with an individual, she goes, sometimes we just have to completely disconnect
Yeah.
with that person if you can't have an open dialogue to try to figure out what's going on. I kind of think I know what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is the kind of person that likes to name drop and
Mm.
make
Mm-hmm.
themselves appear important, or I don't know. It's all ego stuff.
Sure.
But I sense strong egotistical vibes from this individual, very strong egotistic, because everything that I, I hear this person say is doesn't seem to come from the heart. It seems to come from friggin' ego and trying to prove that she's somebody.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like the universe knows who we are.
Mm-hmm.
God knows who each and every one of us,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, my when someone says to me, "I think they know who I am now." Well, guess what? They've known who you are for a very long time.
Mm.
And then I start thinking about people who've experienced trauma in one form or another. And I mean, trauma can be as I learned that trauma can be as simple as not getting the emotional support you needed as a child.
Sure.
I mean, some people that's very traumatizing for them. And now I'm looking at things from that perspective. I find myself when people act a certain way, or I can't stand name droppers
Mhm.
because it's so fake. It's fake, it's insincere. It's don't get me going,
Mhm.
but you get the idea.
Yeah.
I don't like fake people. They try to
Right.
make themselves out to be somebody that they're not. And and so anyway, well, I just digressed. I got off my
Well, I
point.
think what you were getting towards is in the spirit of Spring Has Sprung and decluttering, that it is an opportunity to declutter your friendships or so called friendships,
Yeah.
where you might be used to associating with somebody, out of the sheer habit of it,
Yeah.
but you've kind of passed that point where you're bringing something of value to that relationship, or that person is bringing something of value to you.
Yeah, and you can tell when somebody truly doesn't care about you.
Yeah.
It's
And I
all
was I
about
was
them.
sharing last
Yeah.
week about a
Yeah.
friend who, she's been invited multiple times and
Yeah.
has turned down those invitations. Um, also multiple times, and now she's upset because she doesn't get those invitations anymore.
Well,
And it was an opportunity, like, for me, and in our relationship, just talking to her, it's been an opportunity to kind of like renegotiate the terms of our engagement. Maybe,
mm,
like, you don't think we're fun, and like, we definitely don't think you're fun if you don't think we're fun. So,
yeah.
it's not
Yeah.
personal. We've just kind of like grown in different directions. Like,
Yeah.
I don't hang out with a lot of friends who have young children because I'm just not in that life space,
Right. And
you know?
I have a friend who I dearly, dearly love, but she has children and I'm just not that it's just not my thing.
Right. Nothing against the kids,
Not
but,
at all. I'm so
like,
happy for her and their kid. Those kids couldn't have a better mom, but
for
um
sure.
it's just a different lifestyle.
It is,
Yeah.
like, I
Yeah.
can't really, I can't even relate to the,
Right.
conversations about what kind of schools, what kind
Right.
of teachers, what kind of courses, what
Yeah.
kind of, interests that little Billy has. I just,
Yeah. I
you know,
know. And yeah, you still can love that person, but when that
absolutely.
it's a that's a major lifestyle difference.
Right.
Other friends that you know that don't are totally different than me. They're okay with it, but
Mhm.
it's just not. My goal has never been to have children.
Yeah. And so I think, back to the topic of du jour, it's really in the vein of, decluttering, looking at your calendar and saying, like, is it really worth it for me to spend 4 hours with somebody, for me to get riled up, or to just sit there and kind of feel lost about, the best pediatrician, or, it
Yeah,
just,
it's
at
just
some
it's
point you kind of have to sort of say, like, you know what, this
mm.
this is not really serving me, and it's
For
not,
both.
it
It's
is
not
selfish.
serving both of you really, because
Yeah.
you're not helping them either
Yeah.
when if you don't have children, and it's just a totally different lifestyle, and people need to have a connection if they're going to
Mhm.
spend time with each other. And I felt really disconnected from this person, and there's something I have to look at myself. Why am I getting so riled up? I think I know one reason, but I I I just cannot I cannot cope with fake people.
And you know what? There's
I
no
just
rule
cannot
that
cope.
says
I have no
you have
patience
to.
for it. No, I don't have to.
Right.
So it, so I realized, oh, okay, my friend recommended you're just going to have to disconnect if you're having that strong of
Mhm.
feelings, and so I need to process within myself what is that triggering in me, and I think
Right.
I figured it out, and so um I can't I really it's hard to be around people that only think of themselves too. Um, there has to be an exchange,
Yeah.
a genuine exchange. I just don't have a connection. It's okay. Why do I feel guilty?
Why indeed. That is
Yes.
probably the first and thing that we all need to declutter is that guilt
Yeah.
feeling because guilt is one of those like made up
Yeah.
made up feelings that we can all fall victim to.
Yeah. And I got a third party independent opinion that kind of validated my gut feeling. So I need to go with that. We need to be around people who appreciate it. We appreciate each other, and it's an exchange. I appreciate you, you appreciate me.
Mhm.
We have nothing but the best of intentions for each other, not for some personal goal. Um, and to follow
And
our gut. I mean,
let's be real, like you're being a
yeah,
phony if you're hanging out with somebody who irks you. Repeatedly
yeah,
hanging out with
and
somebody who
what
irks you. You're being
obviously
a
if
phony
you're
to
that
yourself.
badly, you're something triggering it. And so I
Yeah.
think I did eventually identify what it was.
Mm.
Um, but I also have a sense that things are not always as they appear to be.
Mhm.
And I need to trust that. Boy, we really went over today.
We sure did.
I miss Cynthia. I kind of thought she would pop on. She's been posting some really beautiful cloud photos. She lives
Oh, cool.
out in the western area, a lot of open air and open land around her, and some of her photos of sunsets and sunrises have been really popping. Yeah.
Cool. Well, maybe we can talk about that in one of our future cooler talks. I think with that, though,
Yeah.
we can wrap it up.
I think you're
Welcome
right.
to spring.
So it's spring, man. Time to clutter, get that clutter
Declutter.
out of your head, get that
Mm-hmm.
clutter out of your house, and time to do
Out
some
of your friendships.
some spring cleaning.
Correct.
With that,
Correct.
take it easy till the next time.
Ciao for now.
Thanks for being with us.